So how much of my personal life is in Daikon? Well, not very much actually. But there are some little touches in Daikon that actually do come from my personal life. For example, where I'm writing about the hillsides in Japan, the mountains, the hillsides being denuded of trees. All the trees have been cut down. That was true. That was the way it was back then. But that's actually something that I remember from my childhood in Korea back in the 1960s. Back then in Seoul, all the mountains around, all of them were just stripped bare of trees. They had been cut down over the previous century for firewood. So that was my memory of Korea in the 1960s, of all these hills. The trees were all gone. That was a very distinct memory that I have. Another small little thing. When Keizo-kan and Petty Officer Yagi are on the freight train returning to Tokyo, and briefly the train stops in the vicinity of Numazu. I remember that from when I lived in that area. I was there from 1988 to 1990. And Keizo-kan is remembering going to Hakone with his wife, Noriko. Was that for their honeymoon? And my wife and I, we taught English very near Hakone. We used to hike up there often. I have very fond memories of going to Hakone. So that was one little thing from my personal life that found its way into Daikon. And one more thing. When Colonel Sagara is remembering a time in his teenage years when he and a group of his classmates went to Mount Fuji, and they climbed up Mount Fuji, and then they're racing down Mount Fuji, and he falls and cuts himself and so on. That actually happened to my older brother Jim in 1971. He went to Japan for the Boy Scout World Jamboree, and they climbed up Mount Fuji, and like a dummy, he ran down and he fell and he cut his face with my dad's camera. And I remember him coming back to Korea, and he had a big stitch on his face. So yeah, that was all little personal touches from my own life that found their way into Daikon.